Welcome back to Diaspora Dad, where we unpack the stories, struggles, and strengths of growing up in the diaspora. I'm your host, Chigo. Today, we're diving into a big question that keeps coming up in African and Caribbean circles. Why do so many of us, especially those raised in the West, feel the pull to return home and change things politically? We're going to look at some well-known examples. People like Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa, and Omoyele Sowore. All diaspora men who tried in different ways to change their home countries politically. But we'll also wrestle with the question, is this a good idea? Or are diaspora folks often too far removed to truly bring the change they dream of? Let's start with this. Diaspora people live in a kind of tension. On one hand, we love the countries we live in, the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, wherever we've made it home. We appreciate the systems that work, healthcare that, while expensive, at least functions, roads that don't collapse overnight, electricity that doesn't cut out during dinner, courts, even with flaws, usually uphold some rule of law. But deep down, many of us want our parents' countries, whether it's Nigeria, Jamaica, Haiti, Ghana, Trinidad, to have those same systems, because in our hearts, we carry both worlds. So, when we look back home and see corruption, bad governance, and poverty, we feel that pull. If only we could bring what we have here over there, things would be better. That desire for home to rise is what fuels so many diaspora return stories. Let's start with Nnamdi Kanu. Born in Nigeria, but raised in the United Kingdom, Kanu tapped into the deep wounds of Nigeria's Biafra story. From abroad, he used tools like Radio Biafra to speak boldly about injustice and self-determination. What made him stand out was how he combined his Western exposure, the freedom to speak, the media platforms, with a powerful message that resonated at home. But when he returned to Nigeria, it wasn't the same. The government saw him as a threat, and he ended up arrested and detained. His story shows both the strength and danger of diaspora politics. The platform can be powerful, but once you step back into the system, the rules change fast. Then there's Simon Ekpa. Living in Finland, he picked up the Biafran struggle after Kanu. Unlike Kanu, Ekpa hasn't returned home, but he still managed to wield influence. From abroad, he makes calls that ripple across eastern Nigeria, sit-at-home orders, protest, bold declarations. But here's the dilemma. While Ekpa is safe in Europe, it's ordinary Nigerians who bear the cost on the ground. This raises a question many people ask. Can diaspora leaders really understand the daily struggles when they're not living in them? Or does their distance sometimes create more harm than good? And then you have Omoyele Sowore. He built his reputation from abroad with Sahara reporters, exposing corruption in Nigeria with the kind of bold journalism that Western free speech protections allowed. But Sowore didn't stop there. He returned to Nigeria, ran for president, and started the Revolution Now movement. His vision was fresh: break the old political order, inspire young Nigerians, and bring in ideas shaped by years abroad. But once again, Nigeria's system pushed back. He faced detention, intimidation, and endless legal battles. His story shows both the courage and the cost of trying to go back and lead from within. So, what do these stories tell us? They show the power of the diaspora voice. Global exposure, education, access to resources, and the ability to speak freely without the same risk. But they also highlight the tension. Diaspora leaders may love their home countries deeply, but that doesn't always mean they're in touch with the daily grind. Now, They may bring big ideas, but old power structures don't just crumble. And sometimes their involvement stirs more chaos than progress. Now you might ask, is their love for home fake? Nope, it's not fake. If anything, it's very real. They want for their parents' countries the same stability they enjoy abroad. But the question remains, is politics the right lane for that change? So, what's the role for the diaspora? That's where the debate comes in. Some argue the diaspora must go back, not just to talk, but to act, to bring new systems, accountability, and international spotlight. But then there are others who say, no, the diaspora's role should be to support from the outside through funding, investments, education, business, and advocacy. Instead of putting themselves in harm's way, maybe the impact is greater when they empower people already on the ground. And if you ask me, I think that both are needed. I think that's the real truth. Those who go back to push and those who stay abroad to sustain the effort. It doesn't have to be either or. So, for me, as a diaspora dad, I think about the world my kids are growing up here in the United States. And I can't help but wish that kids back in Nigeria or Jamaica or Ghana could have the same opportunities. Clean streets, working schools, safe neighborhoods. That wish, that hope, is what pushes people like Kanu, Ekpa, and Sowore. It's the same hope that many of us feel quietly in our own hearts. But maybe the lesson is this. Change is never about one person going back to be a hero. It's about a movement, at home and abroad, working together over time. That's how real transformation sticks. So, what do you think? Should diaspora leaders risk it all to go back and fight politically? Or are they more effective building from abroad? I'd love to hear your take. Leave a comment. Share your story. Thanks for tuning in to Diaspora Dad. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram at Diaspora Dad or catch me on Spotify. Until next time, I'm Chigo, reminding you that our stories matter from here in the diaspora and back home.